Hi everyone, thanks for watching my videos and please do share it among your friends and peers. They might get a lot of benefit out of the content that I produce, and please definitely go for subscribing to my YouTube channel. As I had mentioned that this is a platform and we are going to bring in people from different aspects of life and bring uh, really thought sharing among all of you to really bring you different aspects. And today I'm really pleased and honored to have my friend Brennan James, to join us. And we thought that we'll be talking some very interesting stuff today, Brennan. Welcome.
Oh, thanks, Sandeep. It's great to be here.
And Brennan, as he introduces himself, he's a digital marketer, a proud Canadian, and an outdoor enthusiast. And he was one who saw some of our videos and was very interested to really contribute into this journey. And Brennan came back, and we were having a chat that how can Brennan contribute into the newcomer journey. And I thought that we are in the Canadian summer, though not a proper year, perfect year to really celebrate it, but we are definitely in Canadian summer, and outdoors are so critical. And so I thought, why not bring in Brennan and talk about that aspect of being Canadian? Because I know a lot of you reach out to me and ask me, what is Canadian culture? Like, what exactly does it mean? So it's not just one word. It's not about just one thing, right? So there's so many things which makes Canada. But I think the two most important thing that I felt, and Brennan, I would go to you to find out your views. One is obviously the people, and the second one is the land and the water. So the land, uh, as a country, it's one of the largest countries in the world, but that itself brings in a lot of diversity as such, and a lot of respect. So I thought we will bring that topic today in front of all of you. Canada from a lens of a Canadian, Canada as from an outdoor, and Canada from a land perspective. So Brennan, to start with, I was thinking that if you could just give us a little bit of glimpse about that. In Canada, we know that we always give respect to the land, the water, and most importantly, what if you could just add a little bit of it context to the people who are going to watch this video about it, and then we move into
Mhm.
some more interesting stuff that we have kept for everybody to discuss.
Well, yeah, I mean, we live in one of the coolest geographies. If you're like-minded, if you look at the Canadian Shield, right? It's I think it was around 110,000 years ago. The glaciers came down, and and they were. I think they're like in some areas they're 3 kilometers thick of ice, and they pushed all the soil downwards. And when they receded, I think it was around 10,000 years ago, they left like thousands of lakes, right? And behind them. And what we call, some of my, my friends and I call like the bones of the earth, which the Canadian Shield, and it sticks out. And it's, if you're in the, in Ontario, it's sort of like, it really makes itself, it really starts to show itself sort of north of Lake Simcoe. So I often, when I meet newcomers to the country, I say, have you been north of, have you been north of the city, or if they're in Ontario, have you been up, to past Simcoe? And if they haven't, I'm like, man, you got to get up there, because it's so unique, it's so interesting, and so beautiful. It's the kind of thing that you see in like the Tom Thompson paintings and the group of seven, right? Yeah, and then
Answer.
yeah.
Great, great. And what would be for newcomers, Brennan, people who are coming into this country new, right? What
Mm-hmm.
would be couple of things that you would like? I know a lot of people believe that oh, Canada means it's a cold country.
Mm-hmm.
But now I am 12, 13 years in this country, and I know that it's not just about being a cold country,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so much of an outdoor country, so much to see and so much to enjoy. And I think you made a couple of points, like the smaller things of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
The not so big jazzy stuff, but it's very small things which gives you a lot of peace and a lot of satisfaction. And I think that has something to do with Canada, because it has that connection. And I think
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 has really pushed us to that, because suddenly we have all
Mm-hmm.
realized that spending time with family can also be very interesting and different,
Yeah.
right? So from a
Yeah.
newcomer perspective, what would be a couple of things that you tell them, you would prefer them to go through or understand from understanding the outdoors? What would be the three things that they should
Mm.
know or they can check out to understand better?
Yeah. Well, I think probably first and foremost, you want to just be aware of the safety elements, right? So anywhere, any body of water um, can be dangerous. So, if you want to make sure that, if you're not a strong swimmer and you're out in a body of water or next to a body of water in it, you wear a life jacket. Right? I think that's the main message to around the first takeaway. The second takeaway, though, would be that's like the public service announcement part. The second would be I did use the word pristine.
Right,
So what you take out there, you got to bring back, right? Like we don't um, uh, we we can't be you want to leave no trace, essentially is what we say, so that the
right,
next person who arrives there can also enjoy that pristine nature. Nothing is worse than looking down and seeing, like, a candy wrapper or something when you're
right, right.
when you're trying to enjoy the outdoors. But the third thing is, I would say, that there are so many ways to get out there and enjoy what these wild spaces that we have. Um, Depending on your sort of your threshold for getting your hands dirty and working hard and getting bitten by bugs. So if Sandeep and I were talking earlier, as I was telling you, once one trip I went on, we canoes were strapped to the pontoons of an airplane and of a seaplane, and they dropped us off in the middle of a lake. There's four canoes in total, two trips with the plane, and then we made our way down a river and showed up in civilization again 4 days later, and that involved very lightweight packs and equipment and some whitewater paddling and all that kind of stuff. That's some people's taste in terms of how they want to enjoy the outdoors. For others, they wouldn't do that in a million years. Um, and then on the other end of the spectrum, you have cottage resorts, and you've got your you can rent with your cabin in a cluster of cabins, and then have a central kitchen where you're served food, um, and there's activities and so on and so forth. There's even there's a Marriott you can go that's on I think it's on Lake Muskoka. So a full-on resort with boats and everything else and full service, and maybe you're that's more what you're used to. Um, and then there's everything in between, right? So um, if you want to dip your toe and try camping, there's the provincial parks in this province are unbelievable. First of all, there's about 100 of them. And each and every one of them is built around some sort of geographical feature that's interesting and worth checking out. They're there for a reason, right? So,
Right,
Sandbanks is built around these incredible sand dunes, and
right,
um, Silent Lake is this beautiful. It has very shallow, very warm lake. The water's like bath water in some areas later in the summer. So yeah, you can go to the provincial parks and try car camping, and there are programs set up, provincial programs and federal programs that'll teach you how to camp. If you're just not sure,
wow,
you can register for them. Yeah, and they'll just teach you what the basics are, what the basics are around equipment, again around safety, and how to enjoy yourself with your family out in what we call like a car camping experience, where you pull up in your car with all of your equipment into a site. You go online, you pick your site, and there's all sorts of, so just Google provincial parks in whatever province you're in, um, and you pre-book a site. That's something that I found some newcomers aren't aware of. I bumped into some in a provincial park recently, and they thought it was sort of a show up and just pick a first come first serve on the sites. So they're like, oh, there's a website. Yeah, yeah. You jump on, you book your site, and you can tell you there's pictures of all the different sites, and you can choose by privacy level and all that kind of, where it's located in the park and how close to the water and all that. And then just enjoy yourself. And most of the provincial parks have, beaches and swimming and biking and hiking and canoeing and fishing and all that kind of thing. Whatever it is that you're looking to get into. Um, I will say some of the ones closer to the city, like we go up to Sybil Point quite frequently, and I see a ton of newcomers up there. Like the secret's out there, that's for sure. It's I walk out onto they've got a great big beach up there, and everybody's out with their hibachis and cooking, and the smells from all this international food. It's like I just walk up to people and I'm just like, what are you cooking? That smells so good. How do you make that? And to the point where it inspired me to go out. I bought a hibachi and I tried making, you
You're
know,
talking about that, yes.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't nearly as good as theirs, but I'll get better at it. Um, yeah, and so then there's car camping, and car camping there's you can get electrical sites and non-electrical sites, and depending how much we like to sleep on inflatable mattresses, so you take that into account. Um, so there's sort of something for everyone, and then there's just your day trip. You
Right,
just want to go check
right,
out all provincial parks that have day
right.
passes, right? So that I'm aware of. You just go in, you pay your fee, and you bring your equipment. You see people bringing, their beach towels and umbrellas and all this kind of stuff. They hang out, or their bikes, and they go for a bike through the beautiful park or whatever it may be. And that's probably a good way to start if you're not, if you just want to kind of go like, hey, is this for me? Because I will say that, it's not for everyone again. And, within my, friend group and family group, there are people who are not interested in the outdoors in any way, shape or form. Some that are, but only if it's in a cottage. So there's another option for you. Cottages are readily available for rent. When I say readily available, I should say pre-COVID. I think most are booked. Um, due to the COVID crisis, but you can always look for last minute deals. And another thing I would say is, by the way, if you are watching this right now and you've stayed this long and you are interested in getting into camping or the wilderness, and now is the time. This is the sweet spot. I tell everybody, especially if you're in sort of Ontario or the central region of the country where we have a lot of mosquitoes, this is the perfect time. Mid-August, usually there's been one cold night. It kills off a lot of the mosquitoes. So you get little to no bugs second half of August. And once you get into September, we call it secret summer because it's like beautiful. It's still hot during the days. The lakes are typically warm still because they've had all the summer
Right.
to warm them up. And that's a theme I'll keep coming back to you. The warm lakes in the later end of the summer are great.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And September, there are virtually zero bugs, cool nights, great for sleeping, nice warm days. And then of course, towards the end of September, you start getting the fall
Right.
colors, right? So another option is if you do like those options, and you find that camping is for you, is you can start getting into backcountry. So some of the bigger provincial parks offer what they call backcountry, and those are basically sites that you get to only by canoe or by hiking. So you don't you pull up in your car, you load your packs into your canoe or on your back, and you canoe in through several lakes or maybe on the same lake that you launched on, or you can portage to other lakes. That's when you get right back into the wilderness. It's called backcountry. A lot of people like that type of camping too. It takes a little bit more work, a little bit more
Wonderful.
planning, right? Um, and then and then finally you've got what they call crown land, and that's there are ways to even book sites on some crown land areas if you really want to get um, into backcountry wilderness where you really get very little traffic and foot traffic and people. Then you can really get off the beaten path. So if any of your viewers are interested in learning about those options, maybe they can just reach out to you
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, I'm
message,
sure.
and I can,
Because
yeah.
I think what is
Yeah.
important is, and all this is so critical, Brennan, because and a lot of people come and ask, right? And even me myself, when I came in 12 years back, we had no idea about, because it's a very different style of vacationing, holidaying that we need, right?
Hmm.
So these are all very very important points, and I'm sure that people who are going to watch the video, uh, they're going to have more questions, and for all of them, we will come back with more such points and more such pieces which are really basic part of the Canadian culture, being Canadian and trying to be a part of this whole beautiful country and take it forward. Thanks, Brennan, for your time on this, and thanks everybody who was watching, who watched the video, and who's going to watch the video. Please, as I said, share the word, share your experience, and definitely come back to us with your comments, with your suggestions, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity to evangelize the Canadian wilderness.
Thank you.
Sandeep, it
Thank you,
really
sisters of this land.
course, every geography in the country has its own sort of